And we're so happy you can join us for this latest edition of Ask 9. My name is Jim Mertens. Becky Phelps has the week off, and so I'm all by myself, except with my good friend, Elizabeth Neruda is joining us. You are the 10 p.m. producer.
9 and 10 o'clock producer.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, KYOU and the 10 o'clock producer. You've been doing double duty. That's your permanent job. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I did the morning show for about a year and a half, and now I've been nightside for about a year and a half, and I just started doing the 9 and 10 probably just a couple weeks ago.
Well, the reason why I asked Elizabeth to join us is that so many questions that you have to do with how we put together newscasts, which is what you do in and day out.
Yeah.
Your experience here, I mean, you've worked your way up the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated college in May of 2022, I think, and I started here in August of 2022. And so it's crazy that in 3 years I'm producing the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah.
You let me do that.
Well, okay, but I mean, that does happen. I mean, it's interesting. It's now that way actually in large markets as well. It used to be that you'd have to start at a very small market and then move to a medium market and then move to a large market. But now we're seeing like markets as big as St. Louis or Milwaukee or even sometimes Minneapolis, where they try to grow their own people inside their station. They learn the culture of that station, the policy of that station, and move them up. So in a lot of ways, for a lot of employees in a newsroom, some of the stations really want to train their own so that you are living the KCRG way.
And I'm very grateful for that. I'm also grateful for the 10 o'clock producer before me who saw me on Morning Show and said, you could do this.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think you're right. And she said, I'm right. You'd go do the 10.
But you also studied for this as well.
For sure. I went to college and I have a degree at the University of Iowa, and I got a degree in journalism and political science.
Yeah, so I mean, she knows her stuff.
I do. I know what I'm doing.
But it's funny that what you learn in college and then putting it in action.
Yes. I worked at a really teeny tiny, like the college station, DITV, and it was so, like, God love them and what they're doing over there, but this is so, it's different. This is a real news station. I was just so excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you're here for this program. And let's get right to one of the top questions. If I know how to do this. Let me do this. Hold on. There we go. What does a news producer do? I mean, that's one of the questions that are, I guess it's somewhat basic. So let's start with that.
No,
what does
but
a news producer do?
we were talking just in the newsroom the other day that news producing is so different than like a movie or a TV show producer. Like it's so different. Basically, any time that the anchor for my shows, that's Beth and Jim, say anything on the news that is not, so if a reporter is doing the story, that's different. And if we go to like a national package, like from ABC or CNN, that's different. But if you are saying words on the TV, I have written those words.
Yeah.
I spend my day combing through local affiliates, national sources, trying to figure out what are the most important stories to include in the 9 and 10 o'clock news. So I decide which stories go in. I decide the order of which they go in. I decide how to present those stories. Do we have sound? Is it good sound? Is it usable sound? Do we have video? Should we use a graphic? If so, I make that graphic. And then I write the stories. I do a lot of stuff.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, it is, though, a team effort. I mean, it starts, if you think of the way your day starts, it starts with a 1:45 editorial meeting.
Yeah. Where we basically go over what the reporters are doing that day. Very lucky we have such great reporters on the 10 o'clock on Nightside. And then I feel like mornings they talk about like the big news of the day. I feel like we don't always do that in the afternoon, but a lot of times I show up to that meeting. I don't know what's happened. I get out of bed at 12:30. I don't know what's happened at the 1:45 meeting. And then we go over what is stacked, what's put in order for the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock show. So I know, okay, this is what we've already covered. So maybe there's another story that I could, pick up where other producers haven't had time for. I can keep an eye out for, if we're covering, a fire or a shooting or something in the earlier shows. That way I know oh, this would be a really good update for later on in the show. So that's 1:45. For the next 2 hours, I'm basically reading the news, going through, because again, I can't really prepare for my day. When I leave here after the newscast, done.
Well, and you start your day and it's basically a clean slate.
Clean slate, yeah.
and every
I don't know what's going on. I can't predict what the news is going to be. So it's really just for those next couple of hours, catching myself up, and going through all the affiliates that we have, going through our coverage that I've missed since I left work 12 hours ago, ish. Going through national affiliates, ABC, CNN, New York Times, everything like that.
Press, all that stuff.
Yeah, trying to get a good picture of the day so I can try to squeeze it all the important stuff into my shows.
And then you come up with what's called a rundown. It's a list of all the stories that you want to put into the newscast, that you do believe you have time for, kind of what you want them to be, whether they're longer, in-depth, what's called packages, reporters that present it on tape, or if it's going to be a live shot, or if it's going to be something shorter than that. And you create your rundown, and then at about 6:30, 6:35 comes another one of those meetings.
Yeah, then Jim and Beth, my EP Tristan, come in. They go, rearrange it. No, it's just it's just a check of, okay, a couple hours have passed. Obviously, it really is a group endeavor, like you said. There are stories that nobody can see it all. There are things that I haven't seen that you've seen, and vice versa. As the day goes on, maybe there's a story that we didn't think was gonna be that big of a deal, and then it's like, this is really a big deal. We need to bump this up. This needs to be the lead.
And I think that leads to that question: does deciding on the stories change depending upon the time of day?
Kind of is the answer to that question. So I used to work on the morning show, and just logistically, the morning show is a 2.5 hour time frame, and not to say that morning producers, it's 2.5 hours of new content, but there's more time. If something happens, an hour and a half into the show, you have time to put that in. I have at 10 o'clock, you think, oh, you have a half-hour newscast. Wrong. Taking out commercial breaks, sports, weather, I have about 13 minutes. So it really is... some stories are breaking news regardless of the time of day. For, if something major happens with the governor or the president, when, the president had the assassination attempt, that's breaking news regardless of what show you're producing. But sometimes something will happen where I think back and on morning show, I might have had the time and resources to get this in, and 10 p.m., just might not.
Yeah, it's a different beast.
It's a different beast. Obviously, the news values are still the same. We're looking for impact and, what's new and what's different and what people care about. But yeah, sometimes the more international stories might get in more on the morning show just because...
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And the other thing also is that the thing that's similar about 10 p.m. newscasts and morning newscasts is oftentimes you also want to look ahead.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. So let's talk about that for a second, because how do you try to make that 10 p.m. newscast different? There's a lot of people that say, oh, you know what, I've already seen that at 5 or I've already seen that at 6. You really do your best to make the 10 p.m. newscast different.
I do. A lot of it is, looking for updates for stories. I don't want to reiterate, if a shooting happens during the 4, 5, and 6, I'm going, okay, and we don't have an arrest yet at that time. At 10 o'clock, it's okay, do we have an arrest? Do we have court documents that show more information? Do we have a court hearing set for the future? Or even just even if I don't know all of those details, trying to do my best. For example, with the Epstein vote, we're, it's passed the House and the Senate. I don't want to just reiterate that in the 10 and be we're waiting for Trump to maybe not sign it. I'm going to go, okay, what would happen if he does sign it? Is there a time frame? Is he on a clock? Trying to answer questions that we maybe haven't answered before. Definitely looking forward to, what's going to happen tomorrow. When you're watching the 10 o'clock news, you kind of want to go to bed thinking like, okay, the world's not going to explode while
yep.
while
I know
I'm
what the
sleeping.
weather's going to be like. Yeah, you're
I
right.
can go to bed knowing likely, that the world's not going to end while I'm sleeping.
That's a well said mantra oftentimes in television newsrooms is that your 10 o'clock is that you want to let the people know the world is fine, all is well. This is what you need to know for tomorrow.
And then the morning show, you wake up and you go, everything was good while you were sleeping.
Say you're fine.
We're fine.
But if not, we're still there to cover.
Exactly.
Well, and let's also talk about the fact that, it used to be that you would be competing very much against the other TV stations. And now you're really competing against social media and also, a Google search or updates in the Gazette or the New York Times or the Washington Post. There's a lot of different places that are giving updates on information as well as you.
Yes. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to tell people stuff that they already know necessarily, but you do want to update people on things that they may not know.
Yeah.
And it kind of also goes to the question that some people also criticize local TV stations. Sometimes they say, oh, why is there so much national news on? There's more local stuff going on. Why do you not have more local stories? Why do you run so many national ones?
Well, definitely we try our best every day. We are a local news station. You do have to take into account, if something's happening in Washington, D.C., like ABC has people. Like they have people in Washington, D.C. that are covering it. And we can cover the local stories better, obviously. We have people here. We have the resources here. So definitely we try to cover local as much as we can. But like I said earlier, some stories are just really big and really important. And I think if we have the resources, we do have access to ABC and CNN and Gray, Gray's people of like all of their content, and when they turn, really good, really comprehensive stories that explain what's going on nationally, I would argue it's important for people to know what's going on, not just in their town, but for their government nationally, for their country nationally.
Well, I think the other thing that we have seen, and I know that you welcome them oftentimes, is that you have these I-9 investigations or even some of the Gray TV national investigations, because that is something that you're not going to see elsewhere. And that's kind of what you want, is that original content.
For sure. And we have great reporters who spend so much of their time trying to, do these really intense investigative pieces, and I think they do that really well. So when somebody comes up to me and says, I have this really great story, it's maybe longer, it's 5 or 6 minutes, I'm like, okay, great, I'll make time. That is the long and short of it. Is my job is making time for the news.
So like you said, you did do the morning show, and then you're doing the 10 o'clock. It's one of the, some might argue, the premier newscast. So other people would, everyone fights for their own newscast, of course. What is it that you've really enjoyed about doing the 10 o'clock?
I love the shift so much. I never want to leave Nightside. It works so well for me personally. I've always been a night owl. And so just me naturally going to bed really late and waking up late works great.
That's fine.
I love this
You're okay
shift
with that?
so much. Yep. Especially for like a lot of people are struggling with daylight savings. I always go into work when it's light out and leave when it's dark out. Doesn't affect me. We're good.
Last big question, of course, is who is your favorite anchor?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't say a word. We're cutting her off. Got any questions? You can message KCRG on Facebook. You can email us anytime. All you have to do is ask 9. I'll look forward to seeing you on the 6 o'clock news just ahead. But once again, this is your forum to ask us questions about what goes on in the news. Perhaps there's news stories you want more information about. All you have to do is ask 9.